In part 3 of lecture 5, we will discuss building the parse table. LO1 grammars are predictive. The first look ahead will tell us how we will go about parsing that non-terminal that it begins. Therefore, the set of tokens that appear at the beginning of any derivation for that non-terminal become extremely important. This is called the first set. Since LO1 grammars include epsilon productions, the set of tokens that can appear immediately following a non-terminal also become important in determining the first set, and these are called the follow set. The first of A, where A is a non-terminal, is the set of symbols beginning strings generated by A. For example, in the case of E in our expression grammar, the first of E consists of identifier, constant, and open parenthesis, because these are the three tokens that we expect to see at the very beginning of an expression. The first of E prime will be plus, close parenthesis, and the end of file marker. The plus sign marks the beginning of the rest of the expression if there is more to the expression. If there isn't, what we'll see is a close parenthesis that follows the expression in parentheses, or the end of file marker at the end of the entire expression. The first of T, similarly, and the first of F will also be identifier, constant, or open parenthesis, because these two will all begin with one of the three. The first of T prime is a little different. It will include a plus, indicating that there is no more left to the term, an asterisk indicating that there are other factors coming that we will multiply by what we have so far, and also the close parenthesis and the end of file marker, marking the fact that there is nothing else in the term that we're looking at, let alone in the expression. The follow of A is defined where A is a non-terminal as a set of symbols appearing to the right of A in a sentential form. For example, the follow of E includes the close parenthesis and the end of file marker, because we have either an expression inside parentheses or we are at the end of the file. Since E prime is the remainder of the expression, everything appearing after E will appear after E prime. Terms come before and after plus signs, so plus signs will naturally appear in a terms follow set. But if the term is at the end of the expression, either within parentheses or at the end of the entire expression, we need to include the close parenthesis and the end of file marker. Factors in a term are separated by asterisks indicating multiplication, so they need to be in a factors follow set. And because you will have factors at the end of terms, a term's full follow set needs to be included here as well. Let's see how we compute first sets. While there are still terminals that may be added for each production and for each non-terminal in the form A derives beta sub I, if beta 1, the first symbol in the right sentential form, is a terminal, we will add it to the first set for A. Else, if beta 1 is epsilon, the empty string, we will add A's follow set to the first set for A. Else, that leaves beta 1 as a non-terminal, we add the first set for beta 1 to the first set for A. What it means to add to the follow set of a specific production is something we will soon talk about. To compute the follow sets, we start by initializing the follow of S, the start symbol, to contain the end of file marker. The other follow sets are all initialized as empty. While there are terminals that can be added, for each non-terminal B, let's look at productions P sub I in the form A derives alpha, b, gamma. If gamma is a terminal, we will add it to the set follow of b. Else, if gamma is epsilon, the empty string, we will add the follow of a to the follow of b. Otherwise, this leaves gamma as a non-terminal, and the first of gamma is added to the follow of b. We'll take a look at our expression grammar in LL1 form. Before we start, it is going to be useful to work with the first of I, which is the first set for the derivations of the non-terminal coming from production I. In production 1, we have E derives TE prime. Since the first thing that we see on the right-hand side is a non-terminal, first of production 1 will equal the first of term. Production 2, E prime derives plus TE prime. The first symbol here is a terminal, so first of production 2 will be simply the terminal plus. 3, E prime derives epsilon. Since this is the empty string, the first of production 3 is the follow of E prime, the non-terminal on the left-hand side of the production. First of production 4, T derives FT prime. Since we begin this with F, it will be the first of F, which is a non-terminal. Production 5, T prime derives times FT prime, begins with the terminal asterisk, so the first of production 5 is simply the asterisk. Production 6, T derives epsilon. The first of production 6 is the follow of T prime, because the only thing on the right-hand side is the empty string. 7, F derives identifier. Since the only thing on the right-hand side is a terminal, the first of production 7 is identifier. Production 8, F derives constant. This being a terminal, first of production 8 is constant. 9, F derives open parenthesis, E close parenthesis, beginning with the terminal open parenthesis. That will be the only thing in the first set of production 9. Factor appears on the left-hand side of productions 7, 8, and 9. So these three first sets will be unioned to get the first of factor, identifier, constant, and open parenthesis. The first of production 4 is the first of factor, which means that this will be identifier, constant, and open parenthesis as well. But this is also the first set for term. So this tells us that the first of 1 will also be identifier, constant, and open parenthesis. To find the first set of production 3 and the first set of production 6, we need the follow sets for E prime and T prime. Finding the follow set of E prime requires finding where it is on the right-hand side of a production. We see it on the right-hand side of productions 1 and 2. In production 1, we have E derives TE prime, which tells us the follow of E prime includes the follow of E. Production 2, E prime derives plus TE prime, tells us that the follow of E prime includes the follow of E prime, which doesn't help. If we look for where E is on the right-hand side, we find it in production 9. F derives open parenthesis, E close parenthesis. This tells us that the follow of E includes the close parenthesis, as well as the end of file marker, because E is the start symbol. Similarly, we find the follow of T prime on the right-hand side of productions 4 and 5. Production 4, T derives FT prime, tells us that the follow of T prime includes the follow of T. Production 5, T prime derives times ft prime tells us the follow of t prime includes the follow of t prime, which also doesn't help. We can find t on the right-hand side of productions 1 and 2. In both cases, it is followed by e prime, so it will include the first of e prime. The first of e prime is the first sets of productions 2 and 3. This gives us plus, close parenthesis, and the end of file marker. We now know that the first of production 3 is close parenthesis and the end of file marker, and that the first set of production 6 is plus, close parenthesis, and the end of file marker. We now have a complete set of first sets. What this tells me is that for a given non-terminal in a given production, there are one or more tokens that mean that I am using this production to continue the parsing. As we get ready to fill in the parse table, we're going to have the names of all the non-terminals across the top over each of the columns, and for each row, a different token. For production 1, the non-terminal is E, the look-ahead set is identifier, constant, and open parenthesis. For production 2, the non-terminal is E prime, the first set is simply plus. For production 3, the non-terminal is E prime, the first set is close parenthesis, and the end of file marker. Production 4, the non-terminal is term, and the first set is open parenthesis, identifier, and constant. Production 5, the non-terminal is T prime, the first set is simply the asterisk. Production 6, the terminal is T prime, the first set is plus, close parenthesis, end of file marker. Production 7, the non-terminal is factor, the look-ahead is identifier. Production 8, the non-terminal is factor, the look-ahead set is constant. Production 9, the non-terminal is factor, and the first set is the open parenthesis. I now have the table completed.